Hi,
Hello.
welcome to my channel. Welcome to the second Percy Jackson live read-along live show. We are talking about The Sea of Monsters today, which is the second Percy Jackson and the Olympians book. So I guess everyone can go around and introduce themselves. Should I start or should I go last?
You can start.
Okay. Welcome. You're on my channel. My name is Reagan, and my channel is Vera Reads. Yeah.
Hi, guys. Oh, sorry.
Jesse, do we want to say what we rated the book, or are we going to do that later?
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
I rated this book 5 stars. It was very good.
Hi, guys. My name is Jess. My channel is Books Past Bedtime. I gave this one 4 stars just because I liked it a little bit less than the first one.
Hey, y'all. My name is Mare from the channel Mare Reads, and I also gave this one 4 stars.
Hi guys, my name is Nitty from the channel Nitty Ready Reads. I gave this one 5 stars because that's what I've been rating all of them, but objectively it's around the 3.5-4 star range. But in my eyes it's 5 stars, so.
Hi guys, my name's Kirsten. I'm from Kirsten's Corner, and I gave this book 3 stars. So everyone else, I hope you don't kill me, but 3 stars.
Ooh.
I'm so excited to hear why you gave it 3 stars. All right, well, we can just kind of go into non-spoiler thoughts and just why we rated it, what we rated it without spoiling things. I can go first. Mine's kind of similar with Nitty's, is that I just really enjoyed, I just really love being in this world, and I think objectively it probably is a 4 star, but I did enjoy it while I was reading it, and so I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Very good.
Yeah, like I said, I gave it 4 stars. It's probably a 4.5, but I really do enjoy it. I just kind of felt like it had a very similar arc and kind of was repetitive almost from The Lightning Thief. It was we just go on another quest, and it was all very kind of similar. Not a lot of new things happened, but overall, obviously I really liked it. I liked being in the world as well. I really enjoyed it. I mean, 4.5 is a really strong rating, so that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with you in the fact that it's a little bit repetitive. For me, I think the beginning of this book was 3 stars, but the ending was 5 stars, so I said 4. I was just kind of it wasn't that I was bored, it's just that I didn't find it as funny, and so I wasn't as captivated by, I guess, the writing. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be hilarious, but something that I really appreciated about the first book was the humor and how I was laughing every chapter. And this time I maybe can count on a hand how many times I chuckled at something. And I don't know, I do agree that it is a little bit repetitive, but something that I really did admire about this is the character growth that we got. And I'm just excited because I think that the characters are just going to grow tremendously through each and every book, and they already have. So that's something that I really love reading about.
Well, for me, the reason it's my least favorite, I thought it was also very predictable, everything that happened, you can kind of see the outcome of it, so there wasn't anything shocking towards it, but it is a great book for the journey of Percy to see where his, overall character goes and where, the book's plotline goes.
Okay, so for my 3 stars, I feel just in general, I am more critical of books just inherently, but the reason that I gave it 3 stars, kind of what Jess said, I felt I was just reading a different version of the first book rather than a new book. They were just, they got to the camp, they went on an adventure, and then there was the ending, summing it all up. I did like the introduction, I liked the new character that was introduced. And I also thought, like Mare said, that this writing was a little less witty and less sarcastic and less a letter, or the first one was more so a letter and a kid talking, where this one was just kind of a narrative and info dumping. But yeah.
True. All right. So we can kind of go into our spoilery thoughts on the book. Does anyone else want to start? Jess, why don't you give it a whirl, and then we'll end up back in.
Okay. I feel like I kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I have any spoiler thoughts, like generally. I feel like I kind of talked about that I did think it was pretty similar to The Lightning Thief. Like, I agree with Kirsten. I was just reading like another version of The Lightning Thief. And I also agree with Nitty that it was kind of predictable. And I felt like some scenes in it like kind of felt out of place a little bit, like particularly Cersei's Island. Like, I was like, why did they land here? This is just like a teaching thing. Like, it's just to teach the myth of Circe. There was like no reason for them to be here. So some of those things, like, it just almost seemed like he was writing for a deadline this time instead of like just writing the book that he wanted to write. So, I mean, I thought it was a good sequel, but I don't know that it necessarily progressed the story along enough for me. But I mean, obviously I liked it.
I am going to say, I think that this book was very intentional. I don't necessarily think that it being predictable was a bad thing. And for me, I think that it's very evident that this book was made to set up for the third book and for the rest of the books because of how it ends. And so I'm excited to see what happens with Talia and having a new character. And so the journey of going to get the Golden Fleece was very important, I guess, to the entire rest of the series. I mean, I don't remember anything that happens, but like introducing that character is very vital. Why am I holding this? I think that for me, the reason why this book just didn't do it for me is because I am the #1 Grover stan, and where was Grover? Like, I miss him so much. I literally was reading books and I was like, why am I not laughing at anything? And I was like, it's my man's Grover. He's gone. And so that really like harmed my enjoyment of the story. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I just feel like it would have been just elevated if he was there. So
Yeah, I feel that. I agree with you.
Yeah, I get like why it was like important for him not to be there, but part of me was kind of like, oh, so they're just going to replace him with Tyson. Like, is he just going to be the new Grover, like, for this book? Because obviously there's 3 of them, but
there is no new Grover. There's only
that's what I was saying. Like, that's okay.
Speaking about Tyson, I was so glad he was introduced.
Yeah, Tyson is the best. He is just like a little cinnamon roll. I just want to give him a hug. And I'm so glad Percy finally came around about him in the end because, I mean, like, I felt like that was kind of realistically written. But at the same time, I was like, come on, Percy, like, get it together. He's great.
That was like my favorite thing about the book was Percy coming to terms with like having a mother and like just seeing his growth with Tyson because he was still like there for him in the beginning, but he like felt more like it was an obligation and seeing him like actually want that.
Yeah.
Stop and cry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like teared up at the end whenever he's like going underwater to go to Poseidon. And it's just like after he goes underwater, Percy's just like sitting there and he's just like looking at the little watch and like he's like, I know he's gonna have a great time, but like I'm gonna miss him. And I was like, oh my God. I was like tearing up. Very sweet. Anything else? Kirsten, do you have any spoilers?
Yeah. I guess one thing that like kind of disappointed me was when they introduced the whole thing about the chariot races at the beginning. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like, it's gonna be kind of like the Goblet of Fire. Like, we're gonna follow it like the whole book. And I was just like over. And I was like, okay, like I would have enjoyed like literally following the chariot races like the whole book, but obviously that's not how it went. And then also, I feel like this book there was a lot of like Rick Riordan telling you the myth and then like going on the adventure, whereas in the first book it was like I'm gonna show you the myth through the adventure, which I enjoyed more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any other random thoughts? Cool. So just some questions that we have here written down that we can discuss. Obviously we're still talking spoilers, so keep that in mind. But how do you guys think that it was different? I know we like kind of touched on this a little bit, but how do you think it was different or similar to The Lightning Thief in any ways?
We kind of already talked about this a little bit, but I definitely felt like it had more of a like serious tone. Like I felt like we got to see a more serious side of the characters and their growth. It was less funny, but at the same time, like seeing that growth was good. And I think, like Mare said, that definitely will be important later on. Seeing them make more mature decisions. I enjoyed that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I saw the big difference. It's kind of like a tonal shift.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely more serious. And I feel like the biggest thing in terms of like writing style is that second person. I don't remember it being used a single time. And that's something we talked about a lot during the Lightning Thief, and how that could be like really impactful for a lot of kids, like when Percy's actually talking to them through the story. And it's not that this book needed it, but I feel like that definitely explains a lot of the difference in the tone.
As far as like sequels go, though, this isn't like the worst one out there. Like it did what it needed to do. I just wish it like could have done a bit more, but like, you know, the rest of the series makes up for it, so I'm not really complaining.
I'm so excited for the rest. Just like after the ending of this one, I'm kind of like, what? Where is this going now?
Yeah, the ending of this one is good.
Anything else?
We can talk about the ending.
Oh, I was gonna say really quick, I do like the fact that, you know, I'm a romance reader, and you know, Beth and Percy, she kissed him on the cheek at the end of the book, and I was like, oh shoot, who's out here? I was really excited about that. I'm waiting on it.
Yeah, we're starting to build the building blocks there, the foundation.
Yeah. And I still love that she calls him Seaweed Brain.
I know, it was hilarious. I love them together.
I guess I have one more thought about the writing style. The pacing felt very different as well. Like the beginning of the book was like kind of bland, I can't lie. I mean, nothing really happened except they were just kind of like chilling at camp. And in the end, like I felt like it was one thing after another, similar to how like the Lightning Thief was that like throughout the whole thing. So I feel like that also contributed to my enjoyment of it.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't even leave on the quest until like halfway through the book.
Yeah.
Like, the whole first half of the book was like exposition.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's move this along a little bit.
Well, that's like
I did enjoy the. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I did enjoy how like Tyson came from like a different kind of representation. Like he was homeless, and I feel like this was a book that a lot of kids read in school. Like so, even like poor kids could connect to him, which I really appreciated.
Stop! I'll cry right now.
Yeah. Don't make me cry, Kirsten. So that's actually one of the questions that we have on here is just kind of like, how do you think going on like the pacing that Mary was talking about? Like, did you like being at camp more? Like, I know some people are like, oh, I like the scenes at camp more than the quest scenes. Like, what do you guys think your opinion is?
I didn't particularly love all of the camp scenes this time just because they weren't so wholesome. Like the camp was dying and they were stressed and like had that awful guy running the camp. So I feel like the camp scenes in this book were definitely different from in The Lightning Thief. They were less fun. So being there longer wasn't as fun as it could have been.
Yeah.
I thought.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I thought the quest was honestly like really straightforward, and you know everything happened the way I thought it would. So I like the camp scenes because it just like shows more about them. But I always like the camp scenes more, so maybe that's just like a me thing.
Yeah. See, I don't like the camp scenes as much as I like the quest scenes. Even like the first book, I enjoyed when they were on the quest more than when they were at camp. But I don't know. The first one's just like a different breed though, because it's like he's like finding out who he is and all that stuff.
I love the camp scenes, but in this book in particular, I think missing certain characters really impacted it because I'm not a huge fan whenever like characters like disappear from like a first novel and like just not having, is it Chiron? Is that how you pronounce his name? Like having Chiron being gone for most of the book and also Grover, like I feel like that also impacted how I viewed the camp scene because I view camp as like this family. And so missing members of said family is going to impact like my enjoyment of reading about it. And I think like camp is fun to be at in contrast to like the actual quest scenes because like this is like specifically like his world and like the specific setting that he's building. But I don't know, I feel like something was missing with this book in particular.
I kind of thought like the chariot races are like one of the most exciting camp scenes, but at the same time, I kind of was thinking like, where did this come from? Like, why are they doing this? Like, I mean, it was cool, I guess, but I'm like, what is the point of this? And like the Greek Olympics are like different from like mythology, but I guess that's where it came from. I don't know. Sorry, Kristen, you can go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say that like I personally enjoyed the camp scenes because me as a reader, like I'm not big into like huge like action-packed books action-packed books. And then I thought like when they're on the quest, like it's all about the quest and like they're going from A to B to C, and then at the camp I feel like it revealed a little bit more about their characters, but yeah.
Yeah, I just think like the quest scenes like open up so many opportunities for the characters to like for it to develop the characters, but in a sly way. So it's like they're fighting someone, or like they just finished fighting someone and they're like trying to like get things together, and like it's just like you can see more about the characters like throughout the action, I guess, which is it's more like sly in my opinion, like how we're learning about the characters. But I totally see how like while they're at camp you can really get that character development.
I think going away from camp is really what grows them. So it's important for them to do that.
Because camp is almost kind of like their safe space where it's supposed to be. And then they go out and test their limits and grow it out in the real world on quests. Yeah.
Anything else? We're really flying through this, guys. I really enjoyed this comment right here.
I know. I loved watching Claire's vlog and her like freaking out about that. That was the best.
I kind of freaked out. I was like, what? And she likes the camp scenes too.
I agree.
I think that's super fun. Yeah. I feel that. Also, if anyone wants to share in the comments like what they rated the book, I'd be interested to hear as well.
Yeah. And whether you liked it better than the first one or not.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about some of our reoccurring characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to change this to Percy. All right, so we can talk about Percy. Does somebody want to start?
I will start. I love Percy always, especially in this one. I know there weren't that many funny moments, but it's still Percy. Oh no. Sorry, I was just reading the comments.
Naima, did you actually read this book?
He didn't.
Okay.
I'm going to spoil that because I know she didn't read it.
And it's really important for him to grow, especially, okay, I need to like stop saying like for future books because I know most of y'all haven't read them, but it's really important this book to set up for, you know, future books and for what's going to come to him. And especially I love his growth with like learning he has a brother and like dealing with that because he like just found out he has like a father in the last book and now he's like another member of his family. So I thought that was really wholesome and nice.
So sorry. I'm just reading that comment. He's gonna stop. Okay. So I think I kind of agree. Well, I haven't read the book, so I don't really know anything about the further books ahead. But I definitely liked seeing Percy's like changing character, and I think like even at the end, just to see him like whenever Tyson gets the dream from Poseidon to come down to like the water world. I don't know what it's called.
The ocean?
Yeah, the ocean. Great, thank you. So whenever he like gets the invite from Daddy-O, you know, I expect Percy to be like so upset and just kind of jealous because Percy like has dealt with like the past two books just dealt with the fact that like he doesn't feel acknowledged by his dad and like he doesn't feel like kind of loved by him, and so I expected him to be like way more upset. And there was like one line where he was kind of like, you know, at first I was jealous, but then I was excited because I knew that like this is what Tyson wanted, which was just so wholesome. So, and also, you know, Percy and Annabeth, just, you know, it is. There we go. Had to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I just really loved Percy and Tyson's relationship in particular and how that really helped Percy grow as a person. It just was really cool. Like, I mean, he was always a good person and always there for Tyson throughout the whole thing. But like seeing his internalized thoughts was really interesting and I thought really realistic. And it kind of emphasizes the idea that like you're allowed to feel whatever you are feeling, but you also need to like work through that and don't let your actions necessarily reflect that. And then as he went through the book, he just really realized how valuable his relationship with Tyson was. And I just really loved seeing him come to terms with it at the end and being like, Tyson is like one of the best people in my life. I want to scream from the rooftops that he is my brother. Like, I'm so proud of him. Like, it makes me emo. Like, I love that.
I don't have much to say because I agree with all that. Sorry, go ahead, Kirsten. You take it back.
It's all good. No, I was just gonna say that I appreciated how, like, in the first book, Percy really leaned on Grover, and Grover was like helping him. And then in this book, Percy kind of became that person for Tyson, which I thought showed a lot of growth on his part.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts on Percy?
I just love him.
Gave it 5 stars because I got so attached to Tyson. Relatable. Really got me back into everything. The book Brainiac gave it 5 stars. Yeah, okay. So is that all we have on Percy?
I think so for now.
All right. So next up, we can talk about Annabeth, my fave.
Annabeth is just an unproblematic queen. Like, there's nothing that she does wrong. Like, she's the best.
No objections there. She's smart, she's talented. Oh my gosh, especially her and Percy, like her like coming to like understand that for herself is just adorable.
I really liked the scene on the ship when they're like passing by the siren like island. Yeah. And she like asked him to like tie her up and she's like crying. Like that was like kind of emotional for me. I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
Like that's such a hard thing to take on as like a freaking 7th grader. I don't know how old are they? 13, 14?
I think something like that. Yeah. Yeah. That was a really intense scene.
I was
like, yeah.
This is kind of intense, but
yeah.
I think that's like one of my favorite scenes. I love that scene. And I like the introduction of like your fatal flaw. I think that's so cool. And I think I'm really excited to like find out what everyone else's fatal flaw is. But
yeah, I like that too.
Oh my God.
I like all the Annabeth stands in the comments.
I know. She is the queen in my eyes. Same. Anything else?
I feel like I didn't really have many thoughts on Annabeth in this book because I feel like her storyline wasn't as like, I don't know what phrase I'm looking for here, but like not sorted out, but like it wasn't as like it wasn't explored as much as like Tyson and Percy, which I guess like is the point of this book. But I just feel like I didn't see as much of her as
Yeah, I feel like she didn't really have her own like independent story arc. She just was kind of a supporting character in the book, but like in a fine way. But she was just kind of there, making good decisions and helping Percy make good decisions. But
yeah, I definitely agree with you, Kirsten. I didn't feel like as attached to her in this book, not because I'm not attached to her, but just because I feel like she wasn't as prominent of a character. And yeah, I don't have any thoughts on that. But see, Naima just said the word prominent.
I know you said them at like the exact same time. It was kind of weird.
Mine's just too powerful. Yeah, I have nothing to say. I like Annabeth. She cool.
Yeah, maybe you guys have an empathy link. Maybe you and Naima have an empathy link.
We probably do.
All right. Well, we can move on and talk a little bit more about Clarice. Does anyone have any initial thoughts?
I just thought she was... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I thought it was interesting that she was more of a prominent character in this book. And I definitely liked her better in this one because she kind of got more of like a good side in this book, whereas in the first book, she was just awful. Wow. Whereas we kind of got to see how, I mean, she's still like crazy, but that comment pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
I love how complex she is because you think she's just like the bully character, but she's actually like dealing with her own like family issues and trying to prove something, especially when you're like the child of a war god and a woman, first of all, it's you have to deal with that yourself. And then you like have what am I trying to say? You have like an impression on other people already. So I like seeing the vulnerable parts of her, but also how important she was in this book. I think like her character kind of makes up for what I thought of like the plot, I guess, in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something I really appreciated. This is connected to Percy again. I forgot to speak on this earlier, but something that I really appreciate about his character and how I knew he like grew is because he gave Clarice like her time to shine, and like he knew that she deserved just as much of it as attention because like she did everything that she was meant to do. And so I just love seeing that relationship change and seeing how he grew to support her.
Yeah, I love that too. Like that was one of my favorite parts of the book was him letting her take the place to camp because, and like that's what she needed to prove herself. And it was really cool that Percy like recognized that and was willing to take a step back because they all really completed the quest. So
yeah, I thought it was again like tactful of Rick Riordan to show like this character that was kind of like what we thought was all bad, and then to show like underneath that there were like reasons for being that way and like struggles that she had herself. So again, because this is a middle grade book, I feel like that's pretty formative in like children's lives and stuff.
yeah, and I liked at the end where she was like, you know, I appreciate this, but don't think I'm not going to beat you up. Like,
yeah, I love how she's portrayed as like this really strong character, and like I think that's important for little girls to see is like you can be this like baddie child of a war god and like stand up for yourself and not take anyone's crap. Like I think she's a very headstrong character, but I think that like it's important for a lot of people to see, especially as kids.
Yeah, I really agree with that.
So sorry, but
Maybe you should read the book.
Yeah, she just wanted to make her dad proud.
All the kids do, like in the books, they just want to make their parents proud. Like
that really makes me so.
I know I've like been on the verge of tears like 10 times this live, and it's been 30 minutes. I really need to like calm down.
Well, I feel like this series, I guess, it's like this is the second book where this theme is kind of explored. But like I feel like a lot of the themes that are discussed are like heavy.
Yeah, but it's done in such a like pleasant way. Like it doesn't seem like it's super heavy up front, but like when you really think about it and like what these kids are going through, it's just like, wow, I want to stop.
Yeah. But I just really appreciate the heck out of that because like Rick knows that kids go through these heavy things and have to deal with all kinds of stuff in their life, and he doesn't sugarcoat it. And I just think that's really important.
Guys, look at Naima's comment in the chat.
I'm so confused with these people.
No. Read the book.
No, that's missing. That's like the first scene.
That was like a human girl, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was just a human.
Hey Grover, I cannot. That's so funny. So are we done with Clarice?
Sure.
I'm done with her. Just kidding. Okay, well, we can talk about some new characters that were introduced. So obviously, we kind of talked about Tyson, but if anyone has like anything else they want to say other than that they're just obsessed with him, now is the time.
He's just a sweet, sensitive little Cyclops, and I love that.
Yeah, I love him. He's my favorite.
I like that he represents that it's okay for boys to be sensitive and to cry.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, is this a spoiler to ask if he's like gonna come back in the other books?
Yeah,
He comes back, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I didn't know if he was like gone.
No, that'd be too
Just lives underwater forever.
No, I was like, why would you make us love this character and then make him leave us? Anything else?
I guess like for me, I loved how positive he was and like how he had really hard circumstances, but like
Gosh, and at the end when he is like, Percy, I prayed to Dad for you, and you came and were my friend. I like sobbed.
That was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I also really liked how again he's like representation to like poor kids, but it was like symbolism that like your circumstances aren't indicative of like where you're gonna end up in life. So I really appreciated that.
And that like your friends are gonna love you no matter what, you know?
Yeah.
All right, well, we can talk about Tantalus. Is that how you say this?
I don't even know if I spelled it right. I didn't check.
Oh,
So
I know Clarice.
you just copied it from me and then.
Clarice, but I don't know about Tantalus. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying that wrong.
I mean,
I don't really have any opinions on him anyway, other than that he was bad.
Yeah.
He was just kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, great talk. Okay. Okay, so this is definitely the next person to talk about. Sorry, trying to change these banners is like a lot. Okay, here we go. So now we can talk about Talia. Even though she was like really just physically introduced at the very, very end, but I'm really excited about that. I don't know. I'm like scared though, because I don't know if like the last line when he's like, she's destined to be my best friend or my worst enemy. And I'm like,
Yeah, because of the prophecy.
yeah.
But I think like it'll be interesting to read about and see her like reconnect with her. Like she came to camp with Luke and Annabeth and Grover, so I think it'll be really interesting to see how they interact with her. And I kind of have questions about like her growth because she like appears like the age that she actually is, right? Or is she like younger? Like she stayed the same age.
she stayed the same age.
Okay, so like how? I guess I'm just not gonna overthink it because like what did homegirl eat? Like is she good? Is she like
So is she gonna
He
be?
was doing photosynthesis, man.
yeah, I guess so.
Is she gonna be Annabeth in like their age?
Yeah, I guess so, right? Because she was
Well,
older than them at first.
Yeah, she was.
Oh,
So now
okay,
that they're all the same age. Before she was like older.
Oh, okay.
And is the
So
order
that even like throws a bigger wrench into the prophecy.
yeah.
Because
Okay.
all at like the same time.
Yeah.
She's my favorite character, so I'm excited to see more of her. And she's like one of the main characters in book 3, and I think that's what like made book 3 my favorite. So she's just a lot. I love her.
I love her too. I'm so excited. I'm curious if like Reagan or Kirsten has any like guesses as to like what's going to happen with her character.
Go ahead, Kirsten.
No,
Take
you're
it. No, please.
I don't really have I don't have a thought to say though. I was just gonna start rambling. So you
Oh
got
well, I
this.
can ramble instead then. Yeah, I think I don't know. I literally have no earthly idea what is gonna happen. I mean, I'm gonna guess and say that like Percy is the one in the prophecy. Right. I don't know. I just
know.
I don't know. I'm like
I don't even remember, so I don't know why I'm like asking this. Like I'll be able to know if you're right or not.
but I don't know. I'm excited because I like new characters and learning about new people, and I'm excited to learn about her. And I think like she can offer a lot more to like the group. I don't know, or if she's like the enemy, like what if she teams up with Luke? I don't know.
I mean, they were all really close.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where's my homeboy Luke? And they're like, oh, he's out here, and she's like, okay, bye. You know.
I just think the introduction of her character is so cool because I just like the subversion of like the chosen one trope because like they know there is a chosen one, but they don't know who that person is necessarily. So I just like how she kind of is thrown into the mix, and then they're like, well, now we don't know the prophecy even more. So I just think it adds like something interesting and different.
Yeah.
Anything else on my girl Talia? All right, great. So we have some questions here. Was it a little unclear about the breeds of sheep on Polyphemus? Were they both regular and man-eating sheep? Otherwise, how did Percy and Annabeth get close enough to sheep for Percy to hang on underneath one?
That was my question. I don't know if I'm just stupid and missed it, but I was like thinking about it. I'm like, I thought all the sheep were like eating deer and like carnivorous, and then they're just suddenly hanging underneath of them. Did I like have a stroke or what happened there?
I'm confused.
Because to get into Polyphemus's lair, Percy was like hanging underneath of the sheep, you know, and that's how he got inside the cave. But how did he get underneath the sheep if the sheep was like a monster?
Here's my thing. Something doesn't make sense I choose to ignore it. I need continuity for the sake of my own mind.
I think we were just following the Odysseus myth, you know, how he like his crewmates like hung under the sheep. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great question. Like, why didn't they just eat them?
Well, because they were scared to like go down to get the golden fleece through the sheeps, but then they're hanging underneath of them. I was like, what is going on?
Wasn't it kind of like addressed like Tyson was the reason, like for some of it? Like he could get
Tyson didn't come until later. After that,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Is anybody in the chat not answered my question?
I don't know. We got Naima in here, so probably not.
Tweet Rick Rayward and see.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question that we had was, why is Karan so refined and intelligent while his cousins are party animals? Continuity? Question mark.
I mean, isn't he like the oldest, or like were they all born at the same time? Like, I feel like he's just older, and he's gone through a lot, like because he's like viewed as like he's the one who's always been there for the heroes, like in Greek mythology. And so like I feel like having that under his belt, he just has more experience, and he like maybe knows to be a little bit more on guard and not to like let his emotions lead.
Also, this is a question about Quran, but was it like was it new information in this book when we found out that he was a son of Kronos, or did we know that last book?
Yeah,
we didn't know that.
Yeah, that was new.
Okay, cool. I was like, and then I was like, wait, am I just stupid and already knew this?
No, I think that was like one of the big reveals of this book.
Yeah,
kind of.
If you studied Greek mythology, you would probably know that, but
very well. None of them as smart as you, Mary.
Well, I mean, no, I didn't know that either. I'm just saying, like, maybe that's why you thought you knew it, because maybe you've heard it somewhere else. I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, probably not. But the only Greek gods and goddesses I knew before entering into this book was like Zeus, Poseidon, and Athena.
Did you guys not have to like learn all of that in English? In 10th grade English, we had to like read a book of Greek mythology and like learn all the myths.
We did that too, but I mean,
it didn't retain.
I was like, that's really interesting, and then I forgot it immediately. And because I didn't read these when I was a kid, it wasn't like if I think read these before, I would have been like, oh, Greek mythology, and been excited about it. But
yeah, that's kind of how I was, because I like learned everything from this series, and then I read that, so I like recognized it.
Yeah.
I've always been obsessed with Greek mythology, and this like heightened my obsession. And not that I'm complaining. So
I feel like I read these when I was so young that like it just came with it, because I read them in elementary school. Like that's when I first started reading them, and so I don't really remember studying Greek mythology before 4th grade. So
yeah, like what grade do kids start this book, like, or the first book?
That
4th grade, I feel like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like late elementary school.
Yeah.
Can read this book, like anywhere
my
from
8th
3rd
grade
to 5th
class didn't have to read it. I didn't. I was in the advanced class. We had to read like Caesar or something, Julius Caesar. I don't know.
In 8th grade? Oh my god.
I read it for my school like assignment. Like it was one of the choices that we could read it for.
I thought this was a boy book, so I didn't read it.
Yeah, the boy on the side of me in 4th grade was in that reading group.
Yeah, I just was like, oh, the boys in my class are reading that. Ew. Like, I don't know if they are. And then I was homeschooled for 3 years in elementary school. So that's probably why I also didn't read it. But yeah, we kind of got off topic, but did anyone have anything else to say about Chiron's like cousins, party animals?
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that he's like a teacher and like so intelligent, and they're just like having a good time. Nothing wrong with it, but I just thought it was funny.
I love how he described like the baseball cap with the soda can, the two straws.
It's such a mental image. It creates such a good image in my head.
I love Rick.
All right. So just looking at like the ending and the conclusion, based on Hermes and Percy's conversation near the end about half-bloods and godly parent recognition and acknowledgement, how would you feel in Percy or Luke's place? Would the limited acknowledgement be enough? This is like one of those really heavy topics that I'm like, crazy that it's like introduced to like a child or a children's book, but like it's something that definitely needs to be talked about because I think a lot of kids probably struggle with that, is like not feeling like acknowledged by their parents enough, or like especially when like Percy gets to end of like all of his things, he wants not necessarily to be acknowledged, but he just wants his dad to like feel proud of him, and like he doesn't want something from him. He just wants him to be like, just be like, oh my God, like you did so well, and like I'm proud of you, you represented me well, you know. And so like I think that's such a relatable thing that so many kids experience.
Yeah, I think looking like at it now, it's kind of hard to fully comprehend that because like I'm not however old these kids are, you know, and so like maybe now I can see more of like the parental point of view, especially because like especially like Percy, he's not supposed to exist because like it broke a pact. And so just knowing like the stakes of the situation, like I can understand like why the parents can't necessarily do more, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't want them to do more, because I think like being in Percy's place, like he's always wondered about his father, and for like him to just do the bare minimum is like you really can't just like make the ocean like move a little harder when you see him. Like there's little things that you could do that make him know you're thinking of him, but like also he's a god, so like he's probably got a lot going on. So
I feel like Poseidon's like the one that should be doing it the most though, because I feel like he has one kid two kids to worry about, but like I don't know. I understand for like a god or goddess who has like 30 kids, like that's probably a lot to handle, and especially when they're a god, like who cares about these half bloods? But I mean, I totally agree.
I mean, you make like a deliberate choice though, like to do that. So it's kind of like you chose to be a parent,
right?
So, like maybe be one. It's hard.
I think like the first time I read this book, I didn't like understand the gravity of what Luke was like facing. I just thought like, oh, Luke, bad guy, Percy, you know, trying to beat him. But now there's like so much like nuance and depth towards like why Luke is doing certain things. And it just like makes you wonder like who's, obviously there's like a right and a wrong, but it's not, you know, very clear when you're in that position.
Yeah. And like I think it's interesting how like I think I would feel like how Percy feels, how he just like wants a little bit more from his dad. I mean, his dad has been absent his whole life. And then he finally finds out who his dad is, and he's still kind of absent.
Yeah.
And even though, and then Hermes points out like, oh, he's really doing stuff for you. Like whenever you ask for something, he gives it to you. But that's different like than getting recognition and interaction with your parent. And I think that's kind of one of the big sticking points, is that like it's almost like a comparison to how a kid or how a parent will like give their kid material things instead of interaction. And I think that parallels there too. So I kind of feel for Percy for sure, and don't know that it would be enough for me either, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I think like even Percy's kind of like lucky because he does have such a good mom that like, even though his dad is like kind of absent in his life, which like that still doesn't compute, like it still doesn't make it right, but he has such a good mom. And then I think of like Annabeth, who had her struggles with like her family, and like her mom's absent from her life, but also so is kind of her dad, you know, so like, or has been for most of her life. So I don't know. It's kind of
so interesting you mentioned that, because like the theme of parents is like something, and like the love they're supposed to provide and belonging is such a prevalent theme of like why Luke is doing what he does with his family. So like I don't think I would have picked this up the time I read it, so I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yeah, I know. I definitely didn't pick this up when I read it in middle school, but I just like can't help but see it now. It's just so interesting.
Any other thoughts on that topic? We have, we kind of talked about Talia, but we have how do you feel about Talia coming back, or any predictions? Do any of you guys have anything else on that?
No, I feel like we kind of touched on that anyway.
Yeah. And then lastly, we just have subversion of the Chosen One arc, in that we aren't really sure who it is really cool. I do actually really like the way that he goes about that, because it's like we're following this overarching story, but I think we're also searching for like who is the Chosen One. So it's like interesting. You got to go to the next one. So yeah, does anyone have any lasting thoughts? Anything they want to bring up? Anyone in the chat, if you have any questions?
Anything you want us to talk about?
Yeah, any plot points? While we wait, Nidhi, do you want to tell them about next month or 3 weeks from now?
Yeah, sure. So our next live show is on November 22nd. I believe it's a Sunday, and it's at the same time, 3 p.m. EST. It'll be on my channel, which is right here. Right. I don't know. It's Nitty Reads.
It should be
So
linked in the description too, right?
It is, yeah. All these people are linked in the description, so go subscribe to them if you're not already.
yeah, definitely go do that first. And then tune in if you'd like to.
So yeah, and we're reading, what's it called? The Titan's Curse?
Yes.
I'm very excited.
That'll mean we're like halfway through once we're done with that, which is kind of sad.
We could read the next series though.
I really want to.
I'm down.
I kind of want to read Heroes of Olympus. Like honestly, if y'all want to do it, I'm
so
I mean,
down.
now like rereading this, I
That's
want to read
even
it so
better.
bad because I like it even better. Yes.
Yeah. I've never finished Heroes of Olympus, so I need to. Like I really want to, but
They like this thick.
Yeah, but I mean,
But it's worth it.
YA. They're
quite good so fast.
The pages at least look like this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
we'll talk after we finish.
Yeah.
Do another huge
We'll
book.
see how we feel.
Harry Potter almost killed me. Oh, look, we have endorsement.
Claire wants to read with us.
I think Claire's already on them.
Yeah, she probably is.
Aww, that's so kind.
Thank you for joining us, Claire. We loved having you here. All right. Well, if that is all we have, thank you so much for joining us again. Make sure you look in the description below and subscribe to all of these beautiful women. And if you're not already, because you probably are if you're here, but subscribe to them. Make sure you come to our next live show, which will be 3 weeks from today, November 22nd. Make sure you read The Titan's Curse, Naima. And
follow us on Instagram and join the Discord as well, because we chat on both of those about the books all through reading them.
I did not link that in the description, but I will do it right now. And I suck at this. But yeah. Oh wait, I can literally send it in the comments too right now. I have it pulled up, the Discord and the stuff. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you guys in 3 weeks.
Bye guys.
Bye.